the Balkans. In the Balkans, they did went to Greece, as you would expect, since they are dealing with the Homer. But they came among the people who maintained old oral traditions of the epic poetry, namely Serbs. And that it was there in the eastern Herzegovina and northwest Montenegro, southwest Serbia, where they found living oral poets still singing their epic poems. And they understood the way in which oral tradition of Homer was transformed. Poets are remembered formulas. He remembered basic formulas, and each time when he performed his poem, he was inventing it basically from the scratch, having only plot, characters, and the basic epic formula in his mind, which means that each time the poem was different. Until the very late time when the Areta of Caesarea, the disciple of Photius the Great, brought it all down. From then on, we have it written down. So, why is it important? Because heart of the Balkan epic oral poetry was something called Kosovo circle. Kosovo, as it is given to epic Balkan poetry, is referring to the one particular event that happened on the 15th, according to Julian calendar, 28th according to Gregorian, 28th of June, 1389. At that time, a small coalition of the Serbian dukes and princes faced the Turkish army under the Sultan Murad and his Sarvali at the valley of Kosovo. Valley with a name that nobody of us understands where from the name is coming. Kost in Serbian is a blackbird. Kost in Serbian is a bone. So we can translate it as a bird, as a valley of blackbird or valley of bones. So all that we have about it is the oral tradition. There, in the decisive battle concerning the end of the Turks in Europe, both leaders, Culibrk and Murad, were killed. The real outcome of the battle is still not clear. Or Serbs lost it, or it was equal more or less, or Turks won it. Doesn't matter. Serbs at that moment lost their power. They almost complete leadership of the nation was slaughtered there. Turks, of course, were much more bigger in numbers, and some decades after it, they simply went far to the Europe, ending up at the gates of Vienna. But here, I have to go back to the basic, that even one thing that is a basic book, which is, of course, Bible, and have to help us to understand what really happened in Kosovo. So, at the end of the book of Joshua, big note, he's gathering all the tribes of Israel, and I hope Rabbi Peter Schindler will not be angry on me because I'm entering the subject where he is probably much better than me, because I will try to be good. He's gathering all the tribes of Israel in Shem, or the next close to Shem, and after all the country was divided, each tribe got its own land, and he began dialogue with tribe of Israel. chosen people. Finally, he said, wanting then to confirm again the comment that Moshe made with God. Okay, our God did this, and this with you. Do you really want to follow? Do you stick to your word from Sinai? And there is a reason for that. He had to circumcise all those who were born in the desert. There was a reason to renew covenant. Yes, we want. But if you don't, then your God is a jealous God. He will, yes, we want. And again, yes, we want. It's all dialogue. And at the end of that dialogue, is putting stones in the heart of that renewed covenant, renewed agreement, or whatever we want to say, between tribe of Israel and God. And as far as I know, the exegetes, those who commented and commentaries, said he was speaking about the revelation, but there is no revelation at the moment. Of course, because it is a revelation from Sinai that he is speaking about. It's just a renewal of that covenant. And he's putting the sign. We have a dialogue, and we have a sign. We have a dialogue, and we have a sign. Now let's go further. Let's go further to the let's say 14th century. There is something else that was born in Sinai. It was the so-called Hellenistic movement, the most mystical movement in the Orthodox Church, which went back to Sinai. It said, there we have a proof that a man spoke to God. And the second confirmation of that is the New Testament, the moment of transfiguration, that Jesus is going up on the top of the Mount-o-Jovan, and his three disciples are seeing him in a primordial light, light of transfiguration and also light of creation. And with him, two persons appear, Moshe and Eliyahu. Moshe, the one who made the covenant, who was the one who spoke in the name of the tribe of Israel, and Eliyahu, who is alive, who is taking care of that covenant according to his oral tradition. From there, at that time, his son was already dying, and the real life had as a movement, as a mystical movement, that insisted on the seeing of divine glory, or it will be put it in the word that Judaism produced in us. That we are about in this life, that we are allowed, in fact, we are here to see that to meet, to feel it. That was transferred to the Balkans. In the Balkans, on the border between Serbia and Bulgaria, St. Gregory of Culibrk, the older and the younger, went there. And moreover, it was a great father that one who fight on Kosovo, who invited Hellenism to Serbia and established the two places where they will live. One was northeast Serbia, where St. Gregory of Sinai lived in the monastery of Gornjak, and the second was the Skadar Lake. Skadar Lake was an interesting place that I had a blessing to give last year lecture that concentrated on Skadar Lake. But put it simply, all the monasteries of Skadar Lake, they belonged to monastery in the old city of Jerusalem had archangels. They were Metochim, kind of an embassy of the Holy Land in the Balkans. A monk by name Nicholas of Jerusalem will live there, and the daughter of Prince Lazar will be buried there. Prince Lazar himself was a heretic, was a friend, was a man who deeply understood that humankind was given through the covenant of Sinai, was given something that transformed for humankind. And then we are again on the battle of Kosovo. What happened there? And now I have to step into the realm of oral poetry. Because after the fall of the Balkans and the Turks, whole, let's say, written culture is slowly disappearing. What became the national culture, became people's culture, was the oral culture. It was all transformed with a well-known instrument called gusel, with a one string that was used simply as a background for telling the tale. And what was the tale? The tale was called The Decline of the Catastrophe of the Serbian Empire. This poem is at the very essence of the Kosovo Circle, because the Battle of Kosovo was described in that circle in a long row of poems. But this one is interesting. First of all, the battle happened on the day of the prophet Amos. What is the word for Amos? On day of his, and they had an evening before, Prince Lazar was celebrating, giving a dinner in the honor of Prophet Amos. And then they have here. There is a great mountain who appears in front of Prince Lazar before the battle, and he comes from the holy place from Jerusalem. And in his mouth he has a small bird, but it was not, as the Slavic habitat, famous drop say, it was not Socrates' fever, it was not great, Falcon the great bird, but it was Prophet Elias. And it was not small bird, but it is a book. The book was brought to the prince in Kosovo, and the book itself was speaking to the Prince Lazar. So, Prince Lazar, honorable man, which kingdom you want? If you want, do you want heavenly kingdom or you want kingdom of earth? If you want kingdom of earth, saddle up. Reader, knight, take your sabers and lay the charge of the Turks. You will kill all of them. But if you want a heavenly kingdom, then you build a monument, a sign on Kosovo Valley field. Build a church. Take a communion, and all army should take it. You will all be killed, and you will die with your knife. Prince Lazar is listening, and he says, "Dear God, what should I do, and how I will do? What kingdom I want?" He's asking himself.